Give me the right orientation. Yeah, looks pretty good. All right, well, welcome. Today is our power yoga day, my favorite day of the week. If this is your first time coming and joining our live pandemic yoga classes, one thing I want to note is that today is not really an introductory class. So if you are new to yoga, and to me that means anybody who's been practicing less than a year, you might want to just really take it easy, take as many breaks as you want, or maybe skip today altogether and come back for tomorrow's class, which will be a vinyasa all levels flow. So if you are joining me today, I hope that you have actual yoga props, a nice firm yoga block, not the toilet paper rolls that I've been using. We want real props that are going to be nice and sturdy so that you can really rely on them if you need them in the different poses. And as always, I am not there with you, so I cannot see your beautiful faces and your beautiful poses. So you need to be extra careful to do what is right for your body and what's right for you in whatever environment you're in, whether that is hot, cold, carpet, hardwood, whatever situation you're in. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Today we're going to start with an active meditation. So find hero's pose, and if you need to, we are going to be here for a little bit, so if you need to, grab a block to put underneath you for support. So I'm going to take my block and put it on the medium setting, right in between my feet, knees together, and then resting on the block. And then because this is a power yoga class, and because we want to do an active meditation, we are actually going to skyrocket the hands out. So go ahead and close your eyes and immediately start to lengthen the breath. Now, at first, your hands out in a wide shape. It's going to seem pretty easy, no big deal. But the longer we stay here, the heavier they're going to start to feel. And we really want to resist dropping them and use the focus of keeping those arms perfectly still and in that same starting position. We want to use that to be kind of drive our meditation. And when I say drive the meditation, meditation's really just about clearing your mind. And so if that means that you have to focus on one specific thing in order to drive out everything else, all of the other distractions, then that's fine. So continue to breathe. Release any stress or tension from the day. And just notice how those arms feel. Now, if you have shoulder problems, by all means, please drop the hands at any time if you need to. But for those of us who do not have shoulder problems, continue to reach through the fingertips, feeling the weight on the shoulders. Continue to lengthen the breath. Breathing from the belly and then up through the diaphragm and through the chest. And then exhale the same way out. So collapsing the chest, squeezing the diaphragm, and then the belly button towards the spine. If you haven't already, feel free to start to add that Ujjayi breath, that heat to your breath. Continue to breathe, feel the weight of the arms. Nothing else to do in this moment, nothing else to think about in this moment except for the arms. Keep reaching through the fingertips, noticing the weight. Noticing how your body's reacting. And if you need to, always feel free to drop the arms. Just a few more breaths here. Cleansing the body, cleansing the mind. Last inhale and exhale. Release the hands and swing them around into eagle pose. If you don't quite have the flexibility to go into the hand wrap, you can always just go knuckle to knuckle. And pull the elbows down towards the ground. So a lot of times eagle is taught where you're reaching the arms up, and that's fine, but right now, after that short meditation, we probably want to stretch out the shoulders rather than the back, and so pull the elbows down to pull the shoulders away from the ears. Go ahead and release, inhaling up, and then exhale, opposite hand on top, opposite elbow on top, drawing the elbows down. One more breath. And then release the shoulders. Another inhale. Exhale, fold into a very, very brief child's pose, removing your block if you have it. And then tuck the toes and come into your first down dog. If you're sideways on your mat like me, go ahead and come long ways on the mat. And feel free to walk the feet, one heel at a time, one breath at a time. Inhale and exhale. On the next inhale, both heels drop evenly to the ground. Exhale, roll the tailbone a little bit farther to the sky. And then inhale up onto the toes and just gently walk forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, back up to the sky. And this time when your palms touch, drop the thumbs behind you and tap in between the shoulder blades. Inhale, back up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, release and step to plank. Take a full inhale here, reaching in opposite directions with the heels and the crown of the head. And then exhale, elbows right by your sides. For the first back bend, if you'd like, you can come into cobra, or if you're ready to just go for it, right up into up dog. And then exhale, using the abs to push back. Down dog. And take your time here to settle in. Breathing and checking your alignment, making sure there's not too much pressure on the wrists. Tailbone continues to roll towards the sky, and relax the heels towards the ground. Inhale up onto the toes, and exhale, gently step forward. Inhaling, flat back. Exhale, round. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, thumbs tap, tap. Inhale, back up. And then exhale, squeeze the belly button to your spine as though there's a string pulling your hands to your heart. Inhale. Exhale, tap. Inhale, back to the sky. And then exhale, fold forward, brush the fingertips, and come into chair pose. So we talked about last week that we don't want too much of an extension in the back. So try to squeeze the abs and roll the tailbone towards the ground. If that means that the hands need to be a little bit farther forward, that's fine. I want to protect the back. That's more important than the extension through the fingertips. One more inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, release. And if you'd like, you can jump back into your chaturanga or you can step through plank. Either way, on an inhale, come up to your version of a back bend, and then exhale, down dog. 3 breaths here. Every time you exhale, sink a little bit farther into that down dog. Release the shoulders away from the ears, shoulder blades. Roll down the back. One more inhale. And on your exhale, go ahead and jump forward, forward bend. And then inhaling, half lift. Exhale, release. And then inhale, let's come to chair pose again. I like to hold my chair poses a little bit longer, especially at the beginning of the flow because it heats up the body a lot faster. As we go though, we'll flow through a little bit faster. On your next inhale, rise straight up to the sky, palms together. Exhale, tap the shoulder blades. Inhale, and then exhale back to your heart. Inhale. Exhale, tap elbows right to the sky. Inhale. Exhale, fold, and if you like that brushing movement, you can go right into your chair pose. Just one inhale here, and then exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, release, and jump or step, flowing through chaturanga. Up dog on the inhale, and then down dog on the exhale. Inhale, one foot comes up, and exhale, bring that foot through. We're gonna start with warrior one, but we're gonna move right away. So, sinking into your warrior one, on the exhale, warrior two. Inhale, notice the shift in the hips. The hip points go back towards the front of the mat. One more time, moving with the exhale, warrior two. Breathing in to settle, and then exhale, moving. One more inhale. And exhale, release. You can either step to plank or you can keep that foot floating and flow through your chaturanga. Opposite side on an inhale. Lifting the foot up, toes stay square to the ground. And exhale, bring the foot through. Start with warrior one. Inhale to settle. Exhale to move. Inhale, exhale, notice the shift in the hips. One more time, both poses. Warrior two first, and warrior one. Making sure that even though you're moving with the breath, you're not rushing through the pose. So take your time in each pose if you need to. On your next exhale, roll down, and maybe keep that foot lifted. You can always drop it to the ground if you prefer. And 3 breaths here. Down dog. You can always walk the feet if you'd like, or you can just hold steady. On the inhale, rise up onto the toes, hips stay high, and hop forward, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, release. Optional chair pose. You can skip the second one if you find it's a little too much for you. And on the inhale, extend up. Exhale, tap. Biceps, squeeze the ears. Inhale, mountain. And exhale, back to your heart. Inhale. Exhale, tap. Inhale. Exhale, fold, and maybe brush the fingertips and rise up to chair pose. Inhale, and then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, jumper step, right through chaturanga. Inhaling, up dog, shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, one foot comes up. Exhale, avoid the small animal or child. Come into warrior one. Exhale, open, warrior two. So we're gonna go immediately into extended side angle. So you always have the option of the elbow to the knee, or you can drop the fingertips to the inside of the foot, or for a more traditional approach, you can bring the fingertips to the outside edge of the foot. And don't forget about your block. So if you need it, grab it and try to find that long line of energy from the fingertips out through the heel. One more inhale here, reaching in opposite directions, and then release that floating hand to the inside of the foot. For a traditional revolve side angle, you can keep the heel down. I personally do not like that for my knee. So I'm gonna pick the foot up and reach forward with the other hand. So now you're in the twisted version of extended side angle. You can do it like me with the hand on the inside of the foot, which is substantially easier. Or you can go ahead and try to keep that elbow on the outside of the knee. Whatever works for you. One more breath. And then we're gonna do a fun little twisty to come back to warrior two. One more inhale, settle, and then exhale, roll down. Keep the foot lifted if that works for you, and flow through the vinyasa. Making your way back to down dog. Opposite foot comes up on the inhale, and exhale, bring it through. Starting with warrior one. Inhale, find the alignment in the pose, and then when you're ready, exhale, warrior two. Again, inhale, taking your time to prepare, and then exhale, reaching forward, elbow to knee, fingertips to the ground, maybe the hand on the outside of the ankle, and reach for extended side angle. Now this top hand is not trying to reach to the ground. We're not trying to make a curve with the top side of the body. Instead, you're trying to make a nice flat line. So if you need to come up in order to do that, give yourself a little bit more room in the hips and find that nice flat line. Gaze can come up to the sky to challenge your balance. And then when you're ready, that floating hand comes down to the ground, maybe roll up onto the toes and find the extension on the other arm. Now, if you do have the hand on the inside of the foot, continue to try to keep your hips square and try not to dump all of your weight into the hand. You want to feel that the weight is very light and that you can almost pick it up off the ground for a split moment if you needed to. One more breath, and on your exhale, fun windmill up. Warrior two, you can skip that if you want. One more inhale, exhale, roll down, and extend the foot out. Exhaling through chaturanga, inhaling up dog, exhaling down dog. Taking your 3 breaths. If you've built up too much heat, you can always exhale out the mouth. On your next inhale, rise onto the toes, and exhale, hips stay high, hop forward. Inhaling, flat back. Exhaling, forward fold. And then inhaling up to that optional chair pose. One full cycle of breath. And then inhale, rise all the way up, palms together. Tap on the exhale. Inhale back up, looking right past the thumb, and then exhaling to your heart center. Inhale. Exhale, tap in between the shoulder blades. Inhale, and then a nice fun little swan dive right into your chair pose. I actually have a reason for that. So I find that if I can make sure I can touch the ground with my fingertips, when I come up, my lower body will be in a much better position for my version of chair. So you might have a different way that you find the best alignment for you, but that's why I do it. One more inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, jumper step. Right through chaturanga. Inhaling, up dog. Exhaling, down dog. Inhale, one foot comes up, hips stay square. Start to notice the heel of the standing leg dropping closer to the ground. And on an exhale, bring the foot through. Starting with warrior one. Inhaling to settle. Exhaling, opening to warrior two. Inhale, there's no rush. Exhale, reverse your warrior. Again, weight can be on the calf, the thigh, or if you'd like, you can go into the unsupported version. Bring your focus to that front leg. Have you straightened the front leg? Are you doing a little cheat there? Try to bend back into that front leg while you're reaching in the opposite direction. One more breath. Exhale, come back to warrior one, and then maybe pop up onto the ball of that back foot. And we're going to do a fun little revolved reverse warrior. So opposite hand travels down that back thigh, reaching a different floating hand towards the sky. Maybe you look towards the sky, which will actually help you with your balance in this particular case. Or maybe you try to look behind you a little bit as you reach. No rushing through these peak poses. One more breath. And exhale, come back to warrior one. Inhaling to settle. Notice the difference. Maybe your feet are a little bit wider because of that crescent pose. And then when you're ready, exhaling through your version of the vinyasa. And then inhaling, the opposite foot comes up, reaching through the heel. And then exhale, bring it through. Starting with warrior one. Exhaling, warrior two. And then exhaling again to your reverse warrior. Choosing your option for support or unsupported, but making sure you're not dumping too much into the back. We want to make sure that we're still lifting with both sides of the body. Sink into the front knee. And on your next exhale, come back to warrior one. Maybe lifting up onto the toes of the back foot, and then trying out that fun revolved version. Very, very non-traditional, but doesn't mean it's any less fun. breath here. And exhale, come back to warrior one. Inhale to settle, square the hips, and then exhale, release down. Maybe keep the foot lifted and flow through your vinyasa. Three breaths here. One more inhale, coming up onto the toes, and then exhale, hop or step forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, round, release. And then inhale, come up to chair pose. One full cycle of breath. On the inhale, rising up, reaching through the fingertips. Exhale, reach through the elbows. Inhale, back through the fingertips, and then exhale to your heart. Inhale, exhale, tap. Inhale, extend. Exhale, flowing through your flow to chair. One full cycle of breath. And then exhaling, folding. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, release, and jump or step to chaturanga. Inhaling, back bend of your choice, and then exhale, down dog. Inhale, one foot comes up. Exhale, bring it through, starting with warrior one. Exhaling again, warrior two. And then this time we're going to come forward again, and I want you to actually start with bent-legged triangle. So instead of having the arm over, reaching over the head, straight to the sky, take a breath. And then as you exhale, let the hand float wherever it may and extend the front leg. So you'll see for me, I don't hold on to my toe, because the only way that I would be able to reach my toe is if I collapsed the hip, squaring them to the ground. Then I can reach. But what's the point of that? The hips are now in the wrong place. We want the hips to be open. And so that means that my hand needs to either float so I can work on my core, or if you don't have that strength yet, grab your block. And that will give you the proper alignment. Now, if you'd like to challenge yourself in triangle, bunch of different options. You can extend that arm back over the head. Maybe you pick up both arms. That's not going to be there for me today, and that's okay. Or maybe you even go for a bind. You can bind with just one hand, or you can bend the knee again and try binding that way. Which you can see, not quite there today. Can't quite straighten the leg. So whichever version of triangle you're in, take the floating hand and bring it to the ankle, maybe walking the block to the other side. And now square the hips. So usually what we have to do is we have to take this front hip and roll it under the body. And then take an inhale, flatten the back, reach through the crown of the head, and only then do you start to reach up. So that your lumbar is nice and flat and parallel to the ground. So again, not collapsing in order to get into the pose. So collapsing would look kind of like that, and that puts a little bit too much intensity on your hamstring and your glute. And the focus here is really on the twist. So just like we got out of it before with that fun twisty twist, do a little windmill, come back to warrior two, adjust the feet as needed, take a breath, and then exhale, roll down and flow through your vinyasa. On the inhale, opposite foot comes up, and then exhale, bring the foot through. Starting with warrior one. Inhale to find your alignment. Exhale, go ahead and open it up. Inhale, and then exhale, I want you to fold forward first, and then extend that front leg. Now in both triangle and revolve triangle, I want you to think about having a block in between your legs, an imaginary block, and you're trying to slide as if the mat was slippery, slide the mat together and squeeze the block with the inner thighs. And at the same time, this front leg, I want you to squeeze the quad, pulling the kneecap up so that you don't hyperextend. Now, again, if you don't have that strength, grab your block. You can even do a micro bend in the knee. If you want to add more of a challenge, of course, the first step is to always look up, challenge your balance, and then you can bring the top hand over the head, palm down, or if you have the strength, come into the unsupported version, bottom hand up, palm up, as if you're holding a big beach ball in between your hands. Bring that top hand back to the sky, and then square the hips, roll the hand towards the ankle. If you need to, walk the feet a little bit farther to each edge of the mat, and then roll into revolve triangle. Continuing to squeeze with the inner thighs, holding that imaginary block or ball. One more breath here. And then on an exhale, fun windmill up. Warrior two, inhaling to settle. Exhaling to release. And flow through your vinyasa. Hold it here for 3 breaths. Last inhale, coming up onto the toes, and then exhale, jump or step forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, hands to the ground. Inhale, chair pose. On the next inhale, standing up, reaching through the fingertips. Exhaling, thumbs tap between the shoulders. Inhaling back up, exhaling to your heart. So we're gonna go into a little bit of balance. So if you'd like to step to the center of your mat, take an inhale, exhale, tapping like before. Inhale, exhale, swing into the chair pose. So settle, we're gonna be here for a little while. And start by just picking up one foot and try to tap that heel to your glute. And then bring it forward, gluing the knees together. And then bend the knee and finally bring the ankle to rest on top of the standing leg. So we're gonna stay right here. You have so many fun different options if you'd like to play. You can do flying pigeon, you can do all kinds of different arm balances. We're gonna start with a little bit of easier stuff and just focus on the balance. So I want you to bring your hands to your heart. We're gonna try first a prayer twist, elbow to the inside of the foot. Way easier said than done. So keep playing with that. If you've got the arm balance in your practice, you can go ahead and go into it. Otherwise, try to keep your balance. Come back up. And then we're gonna stand, keep that leg there. Hands to the sky. This is just a quick breather. And then we're gonna bring the foot into the nook of your hip, coming into a more traditional version of tree pose. So you want to squeeze this quad and create a little bit of a shelf so that your foot has somewhere to rest. Pull the hips forward and the knee back. So maybe you can stay here, or maybe with a little help from my friends, not quite, you can try to reach for the big toe. Now, I'm gonna say something that I really shouldn't. But if you can't quite reach for the big toe and you still wanna go for the fold, you know your body better than me, go ahead and try the fold. Probably shouldn't have done it on that side, but that's okay. So that's what the progression is. You need to do what works for you. If you're not quite there with the bind to the big toe, you can always grab your strap and wrap it around. Let's see if I can make this big enough. Quickly, 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 quickly while you're all balancing. So there we go. Now I can fold. Okay, I know your leg's screaming at you, so come back up, try to keep your balance. Easier said than done. And then release that foot to the ground. Find your heart center. Inhale, we're gonna do the other side. Exhale, tap first. Inhale. Exhale, fold, and sweep into your chair pose. So I do want the focus to be on balance here. If that means arm balance for you, cool. For probably most of us, it's gonna still be an upright leg balance. So start by picking the foot up, kicking the heel towards the hip, then extending as though you're doing a pistol squat, and then bending the knee, dropping the ankle to rest on the top of the standing leg. Hands come to the heart, and go ahead and try that prayer twist. Hooking the elbow to the inside or the instep of the foot. Maybe you can put a little pressure and roll up. Maybe you're struggling to hold on like me. It's all good. I love balance, it's so humbling. Awesome. Release that elbow. Come back up, keep your balance, and then extend hands to the sky. Go ahead and pick up the floating foot and bring it into the nook of your hip and start with just that very traditional tree pose. Now, if this is out of your reach, maybe you have knee problems, totally fine. Do well, it's not traditional, more like an Americanized version of tree pose, but you can still work on your balance is my point. All right, if you're here, reach behind the back and you grab that big toe. Maybe not, that's fine. Grab your strap, wrap it around, and reach. If you would like a little bit more, go ahead and fold forward. For me, once I'm folded forward, it's 1,000 times easier to grab my big toe, but everybody's a little different. You're almost done. I know the standing leg's so tired. It's yelling at you. Just a few more breaths. And then try to come back up, keeping your balance. And then release. Awesome. Hands to your heart. Inhale. Exhale, tap. Inhale, and then this time when we fold, we're just gonna relax in a forward fold. So you can go ahead and wrap your arms if you'd like. Maybe give yourself a little swing, or you can walk the feet right underneath your hips, grab a hold of the big toes, take an inhale, and then exhale, release the head and neck, pull with the strength of the upper body, but keep your shoulders away from your ears. Release that. Inhale. Pick up the feet, step the palms underneath the feet. Give yourself a little wiggle with the toes. Massage out the wrists. And then exhale, maybe you can fold a little further. Inhale, flat back, release the hands, exhale, round, and then I want you to play with where your weight is. So come forward a little bit onto the toes, go back, forward onto the toes, and then this time when you rock to your heels, big step out with the toes, big step out with the heels. Walking yourself to a nice wide-legged forward fold. And ending so that your feet are just slightly pigeoned in. Now from here, maybe you want to rest on your forearms. Maybe you're nowhere close, right? You're like, hey, girlfriend, I need a block. I'm way up here. That's fine too. You can walk the hands behind you. Or if you'd like, you can go back into that yogi toe lock. Elbows go to the sky, crown of the head towards the ground. Now, the wider your feet are, the easier it's going to be to get the crown of the head to touch. And if you have a tripod headstand in your practice, feel free to try that. I personally can't do it without a big old cushion for my head. I'm a big wimp. So I'm gonna skip it for today. But either way, it's still a really, really great inversion. Hips are above the heart, all the blood's flowing to the heart and to the head. Whichever version you're in, bring the hands back up underneath the head and rock back and forth, walking your feet back to the center. One more time, inhaling, coming up, exhaling, inhale, exhale to your heart. One elbow on top of the other. This time, hopefully you are warmed up enough to bring the palms together. Now pay attention to which arm is on top. I always forget to do this. Pay attention to which arm is on top, and that same leg comes up and over and wraps. So that if you were to look at your body, your bottom arm and your top leg are opposites. Yeah, I never, ever, ever remember. It's fine if you don't either. Just pick one and go for it. All right, so this time, I mentioned at the beginning of class to pull the elbows towards the ground. This time, let's go ahead and try to lift the elbows high. Now you should feel it in your upper back, maybe around the shoulder blades. And then let's really challenge your balance. Squeeze the belly button towards the spine and try to hook the elbows around the knees. Okay, so we've had lots of fun transitions, so let's add another one. Big ol' star, right? Why not? Inhale, remember which arm used to be on top? Well, opposite arm is on top now. Opposite leg. Inhale high, exhale, wrap it around, hooking the toes if you can. And then lift, lift, lift with the fingers. Feel the stretch shift into the back, rather than stretching the shoulders, I should say the tops of the shoulders and the neck. And then if you want to add that balance element, reaching the elbow beyond the knee. Good. Now fun transition out. Explode. Back to your heart. Inhale. Exhale, last time, tap. Inhale and exhale, fold. Go ahead and just gently rock forward and balance onto your toes. One little toe stretch before we make our way all the way to the ground. So if you can, hands come up first to your heart and then maybe straight over the head, squeezing with the abs to keep your balance. Good, go ahead and release and gently sit back onto your bum. Find a seated position and you're gonna bring one leg on top so that the shins are aligned. So knee or ankle right on top of the knee, knee right on top of the ankle. Inhale, and as you exhale, twist, opposite hand to the knee, back hand there for support. And then on your next exhale, the hand on the knee stays in the same place. Reach that back hand up and over, creating openness along the side, similar to what we felt in reverse warrior and triangle and extended side angle. One more time, twisting behind you, inhaling to grow tall, exhaling to twist. And then inhale, release the back hand. Exhale, up and over. And then inhale to center. Take that top leg and you're gonna pull it over so that the knees are now aligned as much as possible. So you have one knee stacked on top of the other. Some of you, I'm gonna say it, guys, you're gonna be like this because you don't have the flexibility yet. That's okay. If you're like this, work on your flexibility first by just putting a little bit of your weight forward, and that will start to drive your knee towards the ground. Well, all of us can go ahead and fold forward just for a moment, just to settle into the hips. And then we're gonna come into cow face. So, one hand comes up, tap right in between the shoulder blades, just like we did throughout our flow. Opposite hand comes behind and a reach for the fingertips. Now, if you don't have that flexibility, you can absolutely grab a strap. If you do have the flexibility, first try to inhale and extend through the spine. Reach through the crown of the head, reach the elbow to the sky. If you have the openness in your shoulders already, you can go ahead and fold forward. Inhale back up, release the hands, and when you release the feet, lean back and let's find a boat pose. So you can do toes on the ground, you can do shins parallel to the ground, or you can extend the feet. Feet aren't too dirty, we're good. And I want you to grab your block if it's close, hopefully it's not too far away. And we're gonna do kind of a handoff. So the block comes into one hand, reach behind, try to tap it as much as center behind you as you can. Back to center, switch hands. Reach, reach, reach. Back to center one more time each side. Making sure that the spine is straight, you're not collapsing in order to stay upright. Back to center. All right, go ahead and release. Opposite shin comes on top, aligning the shins. Ankle over knee, knee over ankle. Inhale, exhale, hand to the opposite knee, Hand behind you for support, twisting on the exhale. Inhale, release, and exhale, reach up and over. Inhale, nice tall spine. Exhale, twist. Inhale, last time. Exhaling, reaching up and over. Inhale, back to center. Bring that top leg all the way across, aligning the knees, and everyone walk forward just for a moment. Now again, if your hips are really, really tight, feel free to stay here. Otherwise, you can come back up. Opposite hand reaches up and then bends to tap in between your shoulder blades. Other hand reaches behind and up and grab a hold of your fingers, or if you need the strap, that works too. And then if you have the range of motion, go ahead and fold forward. Last breath. Coming back up to upright, releasing the hands. And go ahead and find your block once again. Uncross the legs and come into boat pose. So this time, instead of doing a little twist with the upper body, we're going to do some fun stuff with the lower body. So hold the block over your head so that you create a straight line from your fingertips through your tailbone. And if you need to, this is a little bit more challenging, so you can bring the shins to parallel. And we're going to do a big tap to the side with our heel, center. Tap to the side with our heel, center. One more time, both sides. Exhaling to come back to center. Hold it for just a moment. And then if you can, try to keep the feet right there and roll down so that the feet don't move, one vertebrae at a time, using your core strength to come down, and then release. Bring the knees to your chest. Give yourself a little rock side to side. So we're going to do one final back bend before we release and relax into Shavasana. But I want to keep with the shoulder opening. So if you know that you have a lot of tightness in your shoulders, or you have shoulder injuries, maybe you want to skip this and stick with the traditional bridge pose. If you can handle wheel pose, that's fine. Otherwise, we're going to have a little fun. Bring the palms underneath the shoulder blades. And so instead of coming up into wheel where you're on your hands, you're going to come up into wheel where you're on your elbows. So the fingers are interlocked, kind of like you would support your head in a headstand. Toes are pointed in just a little bit in order to protect your hips and your knees. One more breath, and gently roll back down. One vertebrae at a time. Releasing your hands to a T and giving yourself just one breath either side to release the spine. Exhale, back to center. Inhale, drop the knees to the other side. Full cycle of breath. Exhaling, back to center. And then give yourself one final squeeze before we go into Shavasana. Release your squeeze and relax the hands and the feet out. So I know we didn't do a lot of inversions today. So if you really want an extra inversion before you go to Shavasana, feel free to take something like shoulder stand. That's a good one. Or you can take another bridge wheel pose. But if you're ready to settle, let your body relax. Go ahead and take a little inventory. Start with your toes. Maybe squeeze and release. Squeeze the calves and the quads and release. Squeeze the belly button to the spine, roll the tailbone under and release. Make fists squeezing with your fingers and your forearms and release. Squeeze the shoulders towards the ears, engage maybe the biceps and release. And then finally, scrunch up your face nice and tight. RPF, as hard as you can, and release. The body should feel nice and relaxed. You got out any final tension that maybe you didn't get out earlier in practice. Just breathe and relish the relaxation. Start to wiggle the fingers and the toes, reawakening the body. Maybe a few wrists and ankle circles. Maybe the knees and the fingertips point to the sky and windshield wiper opposite directions. And then if you like to roll to your side first, you can go ahead and roll to your favorite side. Or if you'd like, gently rock up to a comfortable seated position. I want to thank you all for joining me today. I have to admit, that was a little bit on the easy side for power yoga, so I'll do better next week. We'll get our sweat on for sure. Tomorrow is All Levels Vinyasa Flow, and I'm really excited because I just started playing around with Jivamukti yoga, which I really like, so I'm going to throw in some of that stuff tomorrow. Thank you again. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. Namaste.